filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Diffuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walk the mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, apply myself.
Welcome back to PTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. We're going to be previewing this weekend today in College Football Week 10. Before I do that, I'd like to ask you to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network, it helps my channel, CTC, by the way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We also got shows like The Main Show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave, which they go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, every 7 o'clock Eastern. Just did a nice little interview with a Christian rapper, Sonic. So check it out. Pretty good interview. Next, we got BWT, Baseball with Teddy. Sorry, Teddy, but you owe me Chipotle, double chicken, just like Tomo. Dodgers won the World Series 4-1, beating the Yankees. So we had Chipotle on the line. I had the Dodgers. Obviously, Teddy being a Yankees fan, he had the Yankees. Let's go. So next we got FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Fantasy Football tomorrow. Check out FFC for your start them, sit them, who you can go get in the waiver wire real quickly if somebody left. All that with FFC. We got Dave's Doghouse highlights, lowlights of sports. So highlight being Dodgers winning the World Series. Low light being Ohtani not really hitting well in the World Series. So highlight, lowlights of sport. After that, we have Real Ballers Only, RBL Vaughn, NBA content, Magic fan. Shout out Devon. Get well soon. Paulo just got an injury in the win. No, they lost, I think. In the loss against the Bulls, he got hurt. So, but all your NBA news through there. We have Kings Talk with Joe Jordan. Shout out Joe. He just did an episode last night. Pretty good episode. He goes live after every Kings game, recapping the game. He recapped Kings Hawks last night. So anything Sacramento Kings, tap in with Kings Talk with Joe Jordan. We have Indie Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. All your boxing content. They had an interview. I think their last episode was the interview with Mo Payne. So check them out. All your boxing content through there. Next, we have Unfazed with AJ and JJ, which I believe is the last show that we offer on the network. Unfazed every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Again, heavily NFL. They will start to sprinkle in the NBA as we churn further along there, but they're heavily NFL right now. But I believe that's all the shows we have to offer on the network. If you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that with those shows as well. But let's get into this Week 10 weekend preview, Saturday preview. First, we have Ohio State at Penn State. 12 o'clock on Fox. Ohio State's coming into this game as 3.5-point road favorites. Both of these teams coming into this game not playing well against top 5 schools. Both coaches have bad records against the top 5. Somebody's going to have to end the streak today. Will it be Coach Franklin or will it be Coach Day? But for Ohio State, Will Howard has to use his legs and not like what he did against Oregon at the end of the game. But he got to use his legs. You got to break the chain. When there's lanes, you got to take them if nobody's open downfield. You got to stop Penn State run because that's what they like to do the most. They like to run Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. They like to get them boys between the tackles going downhill. You got to stop that. Make Drawlar beat you with his arm, who, by the way, it looks like he's ready to go today versus Ohio State. Contain his legs. Now he is hurt, so I don't know how he's going to be running the ball, but you do have to contain his legs as well. Key in on Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren outside them backs in the backfield might be Penn State's best weapon. Not even on the perimeter because he's a tight end, but in the passing game, I'll say. And get the ball to Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith because when you do, big things happen. So you got to get your playmakers the ball. Now, if you're Penn State, you got to establish the run because that's what you want to do. You want to play smash mouth, old school football, run the ball, play defense. Get off the field on third downs. You can't allow Ohio State to prolong drives, sustain drives because those normally lead to touchdowns. Clock control. You got to control the clock. Ohio State has a pretty good offensive team, and y'all know what I say. The best way to stop an offensive team is to not have them on the field. Contain Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, the dynamic duo in the backfield for Ohio State, and you got to force some turnovers. That's what was key against Wisconsin. That pick six was key. Offense couldn't really get it going much. The pick six gave them the lead, and then from there, they scored 2 more touchdowns. But that's what's going to be a calling card. They need to force some turnovers against Ohio State. But my winner is Ohio State. Ohio State, really good defensively. I think they will. I don't think they're going to shut down Penn State run, but I think they'll do a pretty good job at it. Drew Allard, is he 100%? What will he look like? I don't know. And plus, Ohio State, I think they can move the ball against the Penn State team. The thing that hurt Wisconsin was they weren't able to consistently score. I think Ohio State consistently can put up points. So I think Ohio State goes into Happy Valley and gets a W. Next, we have Minnesota at 24th ranked. Illinois, 12 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Minnesota is surprisingly 3.5-point road favorites. I know Minnesota has been playing better of lately, but Illinois has been playing good too. I don't remember what their last loss was. I think it wasn't Penn State. Their last loss was last Saturday against Oregon. Other than that, they beat Michigan and they beat Purdue. Now, granted, the Purdue game, it did not look good, but they won nonetheless. So, Minnesota established Darius Taylor. I would say the best player on your team, the running back for Minnesota. Max Brosman has to continue to play well. Now, he's been playing pretty well, pretty good completion percentages. But the thing that stands out to me is 0 interceptions in the last 3 games. So, that's good for Brosman. Get the ball to Daniel Jackson, the best receiver on the team, in my opinion. Stop the run of Illinois. Again, Caden Fagan's out for the year, so it's going to be up to like Josh McCray and company. And force some turnovers. Luke Altmaier has done a great job this year not turning the ball over. Illinois really has done a great job this year not turning the ball over. Let's get them uncharacteristic if you're Minnesota and force some turnovers. Now, if you're Illinois, you got to establish your run. Again, Josh McCray and company. Get the ball to Pat Bryant. I wanted to say it again, but I can't keep saying it every time. So I'm going to just leave Zachary Franklin out. He just wanted to show me. But get the ball to Pat Bryant for sure. Contain Darius Taylor. Win the turnover battle. If there's a turnover battle, Illinois has to come out on top of it. And Luke Altmaier has to continue his stellar play. But what I mean is not turning the ball over. He's been doing a really great job this year not turning the ball over. Only 2 interceptions on the year. So he has to continue that up. But my winner, I'm going with the home upset. Illinois at home has been really good. Illinois at home beat Michigan. Illinois on the road, you might have some slip-ups. But at home, Illinois has been really good. I think it's going to be a really defensive battle between these two. I think Illinois offense might move the ball better against Minnesota. Illinois is at home with that home crowd, big Big Ten game. So give me Illinois to win this ball game. Next, we have Duke at 5th ranked Miami. This game is 12 o'clock on ABC. Now, this is a big game because Duke, yes, they are 2 losses in the ACC, but with a win here, they can make things interesting because we do have a battle of the undefeateds later on. I will talk about in the ACC with SMU and Pitt. SMU is undefeated in the ACC. Pitt is undefeated in general, but that's a big battle there. So let's talk about it. Duke, they got to establish Star Thomas. They got to establish that running back. They're going to have to establish the run period. Cam Ward, they're going to have to contain Cam Ward's legs. Also, while containing his legs, they're going to have to put pressure on him. So pressure on him without breaking contain. Contain Damian Martinez, the back for Miami, who I think is really an X factor for Miami. And get the ball to Jordan Moore. Again, I said whatever you want. You want a contested catch. You want a route. You want some route running. Jordan Moore provides it all on that outside for the Duke Blue Devils. Now, if you are Miami, you got to score, and score some more. Now, the reason why I say that is because Duke, while they're pretty good defensively, offensively, that's not what they're built to do. They're not built to put up major points. Run Damian Martinez. put Duke in passing situations because they don't want to consistently have to do that. Malik Murphy is good. He can convert third downs, but he don't want to consistently throughout the entirety of the game do that. Contain Star Thomas and get the ball to Xavier Restrepo. Just get him the ball. Open field, down the field, don't matter. Get him the football. My winner is the U. Rolling with the U. Now, Duke, they do have a chance if they can take advantage of the U's poor defensive play and ACC play. The defense for Miami has not been great at all. Hasn't even been good. It's been lackluster. They could try to take advantage of that, then we might have a ball game. But Miami is going to put up points. This high-powered offense is going to put up points. Now, I do see Duke forcing a turnover. They're really good at forcing turnovers. I think they'll force a turnover, but overall, I have Miami winning this game. Offense is just way too high-powered. If they get a rhythm, it looks about over for Duke. Next, we have our final 12 o'clock game. We have Ole Miss, 19th ranked Ole Miss at Arkansas, 12 o'clock on ESPN. Now, if you're Ole Miss, you got to get the ball to Trey Harris and Caden pre-scoring. Now, Caden Lee, your other wide receiver, he is questionable, I think, or probable to play this game. Last I checked this morning, so keep a lookout for that. Contain Taylor Green's legs because he is dangerous when he breaks the pocket. Stop the run. Now, Jaquindon Jackson for Arkansas is also questionable or probable, so that's something to look out for. But you got to contain whoever in that backfield. You got to contain that run. Force some turnovers because when Arkansas loses, they've normally turned the ball over. So if you can force some turnovers, that'd be great in beating beating Arkansas, and establish Ulysses Bentley and Henry Parrish in that backfield so you could get some pressure off you, Jackson Dart. And Jackson Dart can use play action and stuff like that and hit wide open receivers. Now, if you're Arkansas, you got to establish the run, whether it's Taylor Green running, whether it's whoever in that backfield. Again, Jaquindon Jackson is probable or questionable. Whoever's in that backfield got to establish the run. Pressure Jackson Dart. You got to put pressure on Jackson Dart, make him get off his spots, make him miss receivers, not, just fluster him. Get the ball to Andrew Armstrong, in my opinion, your best receiver. Protect the football. Again, like I said, man, when Arkansas loses, they normally turn the ball over, so you got to protect the football if you want to win. And you got to key in on touchdown Trey Harris. His nickname is literally touchdown. So you key in on him, make other guys beat you, especially if Caden Lee doesn't play, then it could bode really well. But my winner is Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss forces a turnover or two. I think Ole Miss does a really good job going down the field and scoring against Arkansas. Arkansas's defense has not been great of late, and that's why they've been losing ball games, i.e. LSU. They just cannot get a stop. I think Ole Miss offense is just as high-powered if Caden Lee plays for sure as LSU. It's really Arkansas's defense and the ability, their lack of protecting the football is why I think Ole Miss wins this game against Arkansas, even though Arkansas is at home. Next, we move on to the 3:30 slate. We only got two games for y'all. The first game being number 1 ranked Oregon at Michigan. Funny enough, Michigan gets another home game. 3:30 on CBS. If you're Oregon, you got to stop the run. I keep telling y'all, man, Michigan cannot pass. Now, for some reason, we allowed them to pass pretty well, even though the last touchdown was a trick play. But still, nonetheless, they passed pretty well against us. Get Michigan offense behind the chains, off schedule, forcing them to pass the ball, which they don't like to do. Beware of the Alex Orji quarterback run. That's what really hurt us last Saturday. Alex Orji getting the shotgun and running powers and stuff like that. That hurt us last week. Establish Jordan James. You got to establish your own ground game against them, and you got to get your ball to the playmaker. Get the ball to the playmaker in the space, especially with Will Johnson being out, which for Michigan, that is a key. They are without Will Johnson, who will step up in this secondary. Have to establish the run because that's what they want to do. They have to stay ahead of schedule because that's what they want to do, run the ball. They got to force some turnovers, which Dylan Gabriel, he will give you the ball. I'm not going to lie, he will turn the ball over. And they got to establish clock control because Oregon has a really high-powered offense. And I just said it earlier. You want to contain an offense, keep them off the field. But my winner is Oregon. I think Oregon is going to do a really good job stopping the run. And I don't think Michigan is going to have the ability to pass. Me leaving that defense on the field for a long time. So even if that defense is playing well, it eventually will wear down because they will be on the field often. And I think Oregon would then take advantage of the worn down defense and put up points left and right. Now, it does help that Michigan is at home again, but I don't think that will bother Oregon too much. They've been in a hostile environment. So give me Oregon to win this ball game and remain number 1 in the country. Next, we have Texas Tech going against 11th ranked Iowa State, which I don't know how they keep dropping. They keep winning games, but they keep dropping. Excuse me. 3:30 on ESPN. Now, if you're Texas Tech, you got to pressure Rocco Beck. Got to put some pressure on the young quarterback, make him make a mistake, maybe get to him and make him fumble. Establish Taj Brooks. Even if the run game isn't working, you got to stick with Taj Brooks because later in the game, he's going to wear on your defense. Wear on the defense, and he's going to eventually bust long runs. You got to force some turnovers. Get some extra possessions because Texas Tech defensively is not all that great. So if you can force some turnovers, it will allow Texas Tech to put up points by getting extra possessions. Because I think they're going to need all the extra possessions they can get. Because if the defense don't force a turnover, they might be giving up touchdowns. You got to get the ball to Josh Kelly and Coy Egan. Your two receivers. Coy Egan had a really good game, in my opinion, against TCU. And you got to contain Abu Sama and them backs in the backfield. But if you're Iowa State, you got to contain Taj Brooks. But not only contain Taj Brooks, know that you got to tackle this man for 4 quarters. You got to come ready to tackle this man for 60 minutes. Iowa State has to force some turnovers because I think they will score, but forcing turnovers allows you to stretch the lead out. Get the ball to Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, your 2 playmakers for Iowa State. Pressure Baron Morton. That's how you force some turnovers by him. You got to score early to get the crowd involved. Iowa State will be ruckus. They're still undefeated, 11th in the country. So they're going to be ruckus. They're going to be loud. They can feel that Big 12 championship game coming. So they're going to be ready. And my winner is going to be Iowa State because not only are they at home, I trust Iowa State's defense more than I trust Texas Tech's. I trust Rocco Beck more than I trust Baron Morton. Even though Baron Morton's having a really good year. They're both having a really good year. But I just trust Rocco to make more plays than Baron Morton. Also, I will say the edge for the running backs does go to Texas Tech. But I think Matt Campbell will have the team ready to tackle for 60 minutes because that's just his mindset. And that's how he is with the game. So give me Iowa State to beat Texas Tech. Next, we have ACC. Last 3 games of the night. We have an ACC battle. We have Louisville, at 11th ranked Clemson. Yes, it's 2 teams tied at 11th. Iowa State and Clemson. 7:30 on ESPN. Now Louisville, they gotta make this a shootout. Because I don't think Louisville's defense is going to get them to stop. So Louisville's going to have to keep pace on offense. That's what I basically mean by that. Pressure Cade Klubnik. Maybe he throws you a pick. Maybe he misses some throws and you get off the field. Got to put pressure on Cade Klubnik. You got to contain Phil Maffa. Phil Maffa is going to be the engine that gets this offense going. Can't allow him to keep average. I would say you can't allow him to average 5 more yards per carry. Run Isaac Brown, the dynamic freshman. You got to get the ball to your playmakers, Ja'Cory Brooks and Colin Lacey. Those 2 guys, especially Ja'Cory Brooks last week, are huge in this offense. Clemson, you got to get ahead to force passes. Now, what I mean by that is get an early lead, get Louisville to start passing a little bit more because Tyler Shuck does throw untimely interceptions and force that. Run Phil Maffa, contain Isaac Brown, force turnovers, again, the timely turnovers, and you got to get the ball to Antonio Williams on the outside and let him make plays. And my winner is Clemson. Clemson has a really, I would say they have a really good defense. I trust Clemson's plan of attack more than I trust Louisville's. And again, Tyler Shuck is known to throw the untimely interceptions, which I can't trust that against a good team like Clemson. I think Clemson wins to remain undefeated in ACC play. My next game we have is Wisconsin at Iowa, 7:30 on NBC. Wisconsin's been playing really well. Iowa, they're coming off a big win. I think Caleb Johnson had a monster game that week as well. But they're coming off a big win. But Wisconsin, obviously, when you play Iowa, you got to stop Caleb Johnson. You got to stop Caleb Johnson, man. That's just number 1 at the top of the list. You got to run Tyree Walker. This has been his backfield since Ches Malusi has entered the transfer portal, I believe. So you got to run Tyree Walker. Force Cade McNamara to long down the distances. The thing that's good with Iowa, that they get themselves in short down the distances where even after they have to pass the ball, they don't have to go too deep. You got to make Iowa get in positions where they got to go deep passing the football. Braden Locke has to protect the football. He has, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the year. Got to do better protecting that football. And you got to get the ball to Will Pauling. Will Pauling is a playmaker on the outside for Wisconsin. So you got to get him the ball. Now, if you're Iowa, obviously you got to run Caleb Johnson. You got to run him consistently. He will bust a long run. Get the ball to Seth Anderson, who just came back recently. He came back in the Washington game, and he's been pretty – I'd say he made timely catches for Iowa. Contain Tyree Walker, who's the running back for Wisconsin. Force Braden Locke to turn the ball over, and you got to have clock control. Control the clock. The more you can control the clock, the more you wear down on that Wisconsin defense. And my winner is going to be Iowa. Iowa at home. I think Iowa has the better run game. I think Iowa has the better defense. I think Iowa, they're both pretty physical. I won't say that. But I just think Iowa does – they both play the same. I think Iowa just does it better. So give me Iowa to beat Wisconsin at home. And finally, we have our ranked ACC undefeated matchup. Pitt, undefeated in general, like I said, 18th in the country, while SMU 20th in the country, but undefeated in ACC play, lone loss being to BYU. This game is 8 o'clock on ACC Network, and SMU is favored by 7.5 points. Now, if you're Pitt, you got to force turnovers. And what have I been saying about SMU? If you have a really good defense, if you're physical with them, you can force turnovers. It happened in the BYU game. BYU forced a bunch of turnovers to win that game. And it happened in the Duke game. Duke forced 5 turnovers in that game. Should have won that game. Ended up losing. When you play defense, you play physical with SMU, they're prone to turn the ball over. I think Pitt should do the same, and they'll have the same results. Play physical in the trenches. Just talked about that. Get the ball to Desmond Reed, your X factor. Get him the ball on the ground. Get him the ball through the air. Just get Desmond Reed the football. Contain Brashard Smith, the transfer from Miami. I'm the running back for SMU. And you got to contain Kevin Jennings' legs because he will run the ball. I know he came into this game on the injury report, but they said he's good to go. So he should be doing his thing, running the ball, whether it's designed or scramble. So you got to contain his legs. SMU got to pressure Eli Holstein, who also was injured before the game. He was questionable, but I've heard he's cleared to go. I heard he's been cleared to go since Thursday. So got to contain Eli Holstein. He's another guy that can run. Key in on Desmond Reed, again, the X factor for Pitt. Run Brashard Smith. You got to consistently run him and Jalen Knight. Not Jalen Knight. Jalen Knight is out for the year. LJ Johnson. That's what I was thinking about. LJ Johnson. Run Kevin Jennings just to get him his confidence. Put some pressure on that defense. And you got to protect the football because that's what's been hurting y'all. And the game y'all lost and the game y'all should have lost. But I got Pitt. Pitt's coming off a 5 turnover game where they forced 5 interceptions from Cal McCord. I think they forced interceptions from Kevin Jennings. Again, SMU's prone to turn the ball over against really good defenses. Pitt has a really good defense. Narduzzi is going to scheme some things up to rattle Kevin Jennings, probably to scheme some things up to confuse old linemen, some blitzes, things like that. I'm rolling with Pitt, man. I'm rolling with the better defense. I'm rolling with Pitt forcing some turnovers and winning the game on the road to remain undefeated. And that's all I have for y'all today. Y'all enjoy these Saturday games. I know I will when I get off work. Week 14 is almost here. Championship week is almost here. It's been flying by. College football has been flying by. Also, before I leave, I have to say this, that college basketball starts in 2 days. No, 3 days. No, 2 days. November 4th. This Monday, college basketball is back. And we have a big matchup with Gonzaga and Baylor off rip. Texas A&M, UCF off rip. So look out for those games. But I have been Carl. This has been CTC. And I'm gone. Peace. Oh, hold on. Oh, what are you doing? I should have been gone.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.